by the bottoms of trading cards.
Ready? 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 No.
Ribbit.
Does he feel jump? What can pee on him?
Uh-oh.
Look at those different toes.
Oh, now he's trapped.
No, he's not.
He's the baby. This is the order getting scared from me.
They're gonna hurt you.
Let's put under the rock right there. It's recording.
Oh.
Guess I need to fix this anyway, huh?
Where's he at?
He's under the plastic layer. I'm gonna fix it. That's what I'm saying.
I move that other rock out of the way.
Bent,
Oh,
this is bent opposite, so that's broken.
where's he at? Where's he at? Okay, I can't keep up with him. Or you. I don't even know where you're at.
Isn't that cool?
This video sucks.
Well, your fingernails in the way.
No, it's not.
Alright, Mr. Put my tattoo back here again. This time I'm going to show you guys. I made a little bit of progress with Kiwi, and what I wanted to do was pretty much show you guys. See how I'm getting some sunlight coming through here. We're going to be trimming back these trees that are up above us so that we can get a little bit of more daylight under here and a little bit of warmth throughout the day. But at the same time, in the morning, because we are in the Pacific Northwest, we have the issue of frost every now and then, and it gets really cold. So some of these plants are a little bit sensitive when they're pretty young. So part of the reason for cutting back these vines and cutting them short, so the roots will grow. And it's in this time of the year when it gets really cold that you want to trim them back and drop them in the ground, so that's when all the activity that's going on is actually underground, and they're dormant or whatever, and they're growing underground rather than above, and they come up in the springtime and then they start to do their thing. So that's what we're at the point where we're at now, is when it's starting to get cold. And these plants are going to start to, trees start to drop their leaves, and they start to hibernate, so to speak, like a bear. Springtime is when the bears come out. But anyway, we had to go, and you can see up here all this area up here. All this stuff here was all full of branches and trees and stuff, and I just went back and went up there this morning and cut all that stuff up and made it so that come the morning when this sun comes up over this hill that you see right here where my finger is, there's a mountain there. When the sun comes up in the morning, these plants weren't getting any sun, and I just dropped them in there about 3 or 4 days ago, and that could be a problem in the future. So if I just keep those bushes back there clear, so that we get sun in the morning, and then come afternoon, this whole area gets lit up, because this big pine that's right here behind me is actually covering a lot of this right now. But because it's been trimmed back before, it does have some space to let back in some sunlight, which you can see reflecting here on the lens. But anyway, so my next step right now is to prune back these kiwi, and I'm going to be cloning the trimmings so that come next year again at this time, I have an additional 10 or 12 kiwi plants that are rooted well enough, because I've been taking care of them and feeding them enough that they grow really well root wise in the next 12 months. So come this time next year, when I drop those in the ground, then I can trim those back, and I'll do the same thing again. And then over the next 5 years, I'm expecting to have 50, 60 rooted kiwi plants that are in pots that are ready to go in the ground. And that's all starting from a male and a female, one. So right now, just with what I've done to the male since we've gotten the male, I have approximately 5 trimmings off of the male, and the female actually gave me 2 from a branch that broke off when I was untying the vine from the original bucket and the bamboo post. So I've already had that started now for a week, roughly a week now, in the humidifier and rooting container. So anyway, I'm gonna jump on that here in a minute and show you guys how that works. Now then, so here we have the female, and you can see here that I've actually taken already and cropped it and made it so that it's now going to start more concentrating on growing underground rather than growing above the ground, because number one, it's the temperatures are getting colder, and the daylight is actually decreasing. So the plant pretty much knows it's almost time to hibernate, so or go dormant. So you can see here that this plant has actually been trimmed more than a few times. It's here. We got 1, 2, and we got another one here, 3, and there's another one, 4, and there's another one right here, 5 times that this has been trimmed back, where I want to say that the nursery cloned it. So these plants are very, very, very hardy, and this is not the hardy kiwi, but this is fuzzy kiwi, but it actually is the Actinidia deliciosa sanicton. Anyway, so I'll show you the trimmings that we already have from this one here that are already in the rooter here in a second. All right, so here we have the male, and you can see that on the end here that this particular one has been damaged or was trimmed back at some point, right? And there's another spot down here, right in here, where there was another one that broke off also. So the rule of thumb, and I guess green thumb, is you count the bud. So here's a bud, there's another bud, and there's another bud. But you're only supposed to go up like 2 of these. But I'm going to say that we go up 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm going to go up to this one, and this is, I think, where I'm going to cut it right here. I'm going to cut it right above. So we're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I think that's probably a good place to, All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, that's a good spot. Okay, so now I got that propped up. What we have here is a tree seal, which basically what this is like a band-aid for plants, and all it is really is just a liquid asphalt, 45% asphalt, silicous materials, which is 15%, and then 40% water, right? Because you got to have some water to be able to have the liquid. But anyway, so this is what you stick on where you cut, wherever your cuts are. So we said we're going to go at 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and they usually say the second or third one. So, but we're going to go with 5 only because I want to give it a little better chance at growing, right? So this we're going to actually use to create a new, some new babies out of it, some clones. Now this, I'm going to put the asphalt on the tip of it so that any bugs or critters won't bother or eat away at the sap. Right? Okay, so that's done with that. Now we got this root boost, which is a rooting powder. That's pretty much what we have for the base of the vine. Now what I like to do is I don't like to try to root anything without at least two growths off of them, right? So in this case we have 1, 2. This one here was damaged before. See here, it was somebody ripped that right off. So what we're going to do is we're going to take advantage of that, and we're going to make that our third one. And I'm taking a chance on this one because it only has the one growth. But seeing as how this made this stronger when they cut that there, I think this will grow. So I'm going with that, okay? So what I do is I take my pruning shears and I scrape back a little bit of this outside layer, and I want to say it's cambium, something like that. Anyway, so make sure that they've got plenty of place for some water to penetrate and make its way. Now, this rooting powder got to have some water. And, these sponges actually got rained on last night, so they got a little bit of moisture, which is enough to get this powder here to stick. See? It actually stuck to that. Alright, now that goes right into the center part of this sponge right here. And all we're going to do is slide that in there, and it doesn't have to go all the way through or anything. We just want it to be stable, right? So that's where that goes. And because we have this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim that, and then I'm going to use the asphalt to protect that a little bit. Alright, see, a little bit of asphalt there. Now I can put that back in the rooting tray. And we got a couple more here. We got to do the same thing too. So there we go. I'm going to trim this back a little bit. And usually, you don't want to take it all back. And if you can leave a little bit of hairs there, it might even be cool too, because then it gives it somewhere else to grow out of. And like I said, it's got to be a little wet. All right, see the water sponge out of there? All right, now a little bit of root hormone, root powder, root tone. I don't know, there's a lot of names for it. I keep hearing different names for it, so I guess it depends on where you live or where you grew up. But you see here, there's another section that was broken, right? So, yeah, I cut it there, but you see here that old growth that's actually kind of dried up now, right? There's a nub that's growing out of the tip of that. So that's where the concentration is going to be. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this off one last time, and we're going to asphalt that tip, just the cut part, and keep it from crying, basically sapping or losing sap, so it doesn't bleed to death, essentially. All right, that's in the rooting tray. We got one more to go. So remember, the whole reason for doing this and cutting them back when you put them in the ground, and it doesn't really have to be immediately. I waited a few days and I let the plants get rained on once so that they had a chance to get past their initial shock, from being removed from their pot. And now that it's wintertime, the plants kind of go a little bit more dormant or whatever. But I guess these plants are pretty vigorous all year round. And not that it would ever go really dormant, but their root activity is, well, we're trying to get them to grow right now and get settled in, so come springtime and they get their little growth spurt, they don't have issues or whatever, and get confused. So there we go. See, we got the asphalt on the tip. I got one growth here, one growth there, right? And I was told that, anyway, I've seen on a different plant that when they cut them across right underneath this node here to get this to continue growing. But I'm going to leave this here so that it has some energy, and if it does grow, it ain't going to grow much, but most of the energy is going to be expended into these to get these to grow a little bit more. So as of right now, that's what we're going for. It should grow something out from here or from on this side, but that I can see on this particular vine, these only grow out of one side. So but now that I'm seeing them, they're actually a little bit tall, so I may have to split this last one up in two, because my rooting canopy is only 6 inches tall, and this is pretty much, once it's all together, you're looking at 9 inches there. So I have no choice but to do the same thing to this one more time. Alright, there we go. That one's good to go. Right? It's not too big. And this one just needs to be done again at the base. Right? And if we were grafting, we would want something about the same size to attach it to. But we're not grafting, we're rooting in this case. And once you slide that back a little bit and you trim that back like that, there should be enough moisture in the bark that your powder will stick to it also. So all I'm going to do is squish it a little bit so that the water has a chance to absorb and push that into the plant system, the skin of the plant. All right, so here we have it, which you see here. Like I said, I only have about 6 inches inside of this canopy. So if this one here is too long, after a little bit, I may have to trim it down and make it shorter, or split it and start a new piece. So we'll have to see. All right, so what I've done here is I need to figure out some way to identify these plants. What I've done is I got blue and red kind of looks pinkish, so we're just going to say pink. So we got blue and pink, all right? If you're colorblind, okay. If you're not, well, we're going to pretend. So anyway, so all these that I've just cut now are male. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little band around them so that they have some identification. Okay, so now you can see there that boys are all banded blue. Right? We're back over here at the female kiwi and female fuzzy kiwi. So, all right, so we went with 5 on the other plant. So we're gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So we can snip this right here, and that will leave us with 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4 more plants. So that's where we're gonna snip this girl right off at right here, and a little bit of room for. There we go. All right. So now we're going to go back to our root tone and our sealer and do the old sealer job on the tip of the plant so that we're protecting it. Right? Oh, nice and tight. Nice and tidy. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4 nubs. We got 5, actually 5 little growths there that we're going to be good with. So it says that, you know, we only need 2, but we're not going with 2. We're going a little bit more. Make sure that this thing has a chance to live. So, you know, we have various females, the red tags or the pink tags and the blue tags, right? Now we're going to move over here and work with our other ones, which I know for a fact that just added some in here, so I got to remember which ones were which. Yeah. Hey, so here we are in the greenhouse, and I was just going to show you that we actually have some plants that are flowering right now, and we have tomatoes, which is the big giant red tomatoes, and I don't even know what name they are because I'll let you know later on. I'll go look at the package at some point here, but got the red tomatoes, which you can see here, they're flowering there. You see the yellow flowers, and then we have here, we get the basil also, which are beginning to flower, and you see here they got the little pods coming out underneath. So I got to figure out if these are male or female plants, but that I can see, it looks like I have 3 that are towering a little bit higher than this one over here. So my guess is that these here that are doing their thing and have these pollen pods, I don't know if these are hermaphrodite or whatever, but looks to me like little babies are very aromatic, and they're ready to do their thing. I mean, whatever they got going on, we need to invite some bees over. But yeah, so just wanted to show you guys that and give you a little taste of that. Show you the progress in the greenhouse. And these basil actually are only about 6 weeks old. About 6 weeks since I began them from rooted trimmings from another plant, which sat about a week and began rooting within a week. So, and those didn't get no root tone, they just did it all by themselves in water. So those were actually a gift from our friend Wendy, who was the one who turned us on to this and invited us out to this area to come and check it out because she figured we would love it, and she was right.